Interesting. So it's all about investing in people. Tell us, Roger, about your wealth dynamic system. How does that correlate with investing in people?
Okay, so the wealth dynamic system, for everyone who's familiar with, you have 8 profiles. You can go and have a look and see which profile gets you into your own flow. Flow is about trust, because we trust where the river's going, right? We trust it's going to get to the sea. And when we are, like, say, for example, a creator profile, which is one of the 8, then people trust we're going to be able to create great things. But they don't. We don't need to be good at people, good at timing. When we're someone like Warren Buffett, right, an accumulator, people trust we're going to be very sensible with our money and not just go out with the next bright idea. Deal makers, people trust we're going to bring the right people together, like Rupert Murdoch for the deal. So that's about building trust. If we then say, so if entrepreneurship, and by the way, the word entrepreneur comes from the verb entreprendre, which is from French, it means to undertake or to go on a journey of promise. The way you create trust is to build promises and to trade promises. And if we take this concept of how a promise grows from an idea to a business and then from there into an asset, you could almost say that on the outbound journey, you have something which is called creating reward or creating value. And it's not about what return you're getting, because it's about how you take an idea and reward people for helping you to grow it, to build it. But on the way back, you have something which is about creating return, which is now you've got something which is an enterprise, a tradable entity. You now can effectively create not reward but return. You now are creating not capital, but the opposite, which is not creating value but securing that value or creating safety, which is securitizing, right? So the outbound journey is a fancy word called capitalization, which is how you create capital within something. And that's what happened pretty much for about 12 years ago, from 1996 through to 2001. That was basically the dot-com era, or the IT era, the internet era, which is where we were building so much capital, it gets to a point where it overheats. You magnify it so much that people say, hang on a minute, this business isn't actually worth that value we think it's worth. And as a result, we had the dot-com crash. Then you go from multiplying value to now going from capital to securitization, which is when you chop down value and make it safer. And you create securities, which is what happens in not the entrepreneurial market, but in the finance market. And what happens there is, again, if you break it down into too many pieces, eventually you say, hang on a minute, what was the underlying value behind the security? And you think it's not there. So again, what happens is you have a crash not of the entrepreneurial market, which happened in 2001, but in the securities market, which happened in 2008. Now, what does that mean? This happens again and again, and it means that we're going back to the cycle where money, where there's lots of it, flies back to value. Which means that if you say, so what should I be doing right now? Should I be investing in assets? No, you should be investing in the enterprises that are going to develop value, where this money will flow. And once the money settles down, it will come back to those areas where there is value. And so if you say, well, how does it all link together? It links from the point of view of knowing that you can watch a game of football, see the ball being passed around and think, wow, that looks kind of cool, that team's working well together. But to get behind the scenes to say, how did they get to work that way? What's the gameplay? That's what wealth dynamics is all about. And that's by understanding these cycles we go through are not a surprise to the top entrepreneurs in the world, because they all see these cycles coming.